crisis era tax credits, and it's not too late to receive this relief. And also, as we progress through the 2023 tax season, Americans have their eyes on a potential tax refund. But getting money back from the government can actually be a double-edged sword, because according to several tax experts, earning a large tax refund may mean that you give the IRS an interest-free loan throughout the course of the year, instead of putting that money to work for you in other ways. The majority of people who file a U.S. tax return from the year end up getting a refund. For the 2021 tax year, though, it involved a tax return filed in 2022. U.S. individual taxpayers logged an average federal refund of $1,800, and there's only a month left to file your federal income taxes, unless you live in Alabama, California, or Georgia. In the 8 weeks since the IRS started accepting tax returns, the agency has already processed 63 million returns and issued almost 50 million tax refunds. If you filed early, you might be wondering when you're going to get a refund. And the good news is that 90% of eligible taxpayers should get the refunds within 3 weeks of filing. Setting up direct deposit for your tax refund speeds things up quite a bit, and paper checks can take 6 to 8 weeks to arrive by the mail. The quickest way to monitor your tax refunds with the IRS wears a refund page, which also lets you know if your return has been rejected because of the errors. But everybody know this, the earliest early birds who filed a tax return in January might have been frustrated to learn that by law, the IRS couldn't issue the refunds until mid-February if they claimed the earned income tax credit. Taxpayers who qualify for this credit will certainly find it to be well worth the wait when the refunds arrive much larger, and the earned income tax credit is a tax break for low to moderate income households. It's a refundable credit, which means that it can be used to reduce any tax bill you owe, and whatever is left over will come back to you as part of the refund. It's also important to remember that you can qualify for with or without children. And this credit saves 30 million taxpayers and families more than $60 million. Last year, the average earned income tax credit recipient received $2,000 from this credit. It will help so many people out, folks, and I'm glad that some people are getting the help that they need in order to receive this stimulus cash, because Alabama residents could soon get a tax rebate of up to $800. The governor has also proposed a one-time tax rebate from Alabama that would give $400 to individuals and $100 to married couples, along with the one-time tax rebate from Alabama. Governors have also proposed a 2% pay raise for teachers and state employees. Now, as per the Alabama Department of Revenue, part-year residents, single residents that is, are required to file a return if their annual income is above $4,000, while Alabama residents and joint filing Alabama residents are required to file a return if their annual income is more than $10,000. Alabama has two budgets, the General Fund and the Education Trust Fund. The budget that funds education has a rare surplus of $2.8 billion, while the state's General Fund has a surplus of $350 million. And also, lawmakers debated on the proposed spending plans before arriving for the final version of this. The president has revealed his new plan to take action and address the rising cost of living for Americans. A new relief bill has been proposed that would provide eligible seniors with a $200 stimulus check. Now, while pointing to robust June jobs and numbers, falling gas prices, Joe Biden announced today that his economic program is working. During a White House event, Biden said, "Today, the Labor Department reported that we added 372,000 jobs last month. Here's why it's important. Our private sector has now recovered all the jobs lost during the crisis." Now, Friday's job report eased fears that the U.S. recession was imminent, though some economists cautioned that low unemployment and wage gains would not help tame sky-high inflation. Before you file, because simple math problems can get your return jam up too, and that's not something that you want to have done. In addition, tax refunds are likely a big letdown this season for a good chunk of Americans who expected and needed more at a time when their finances are shakier, because almost half of all Americans anticipated they would receive refunds that were smaller of the normal size or even bigger than last year's. Just 30% of the expected smaller refunds that are coming in. Our experts are warning that after crisis-era tax enhancements expired, the smaller windfalls come as Americans are saving less and as inflation continues to eat into their budgets. Taxpayers have even been warning about refund shrinkage this year due to the federal government ending the crisis relief and the credit as well. The amount of the Child Independent Care Credit also reverted to its lower pre-crisis value. The above-the-line charitable contribution deduction also wasn't extended, while the mortgage insurance premium deduction expired too. Inflation ranked as the top financial concern for most Americans as well. And a big part of that is because wage growth remains behind for the most part. One expert said that the people are paying more for the very basic needs, that they have to reduce their savings, retirement plans, and charitable giving to make ends meet.
The Biden administration says it feels confident the Republicans will get on board with their proposed stimulus package. But the cost of the White House's $2 trillion plan is a non-starter for Republicans who prefer their $600 billion version. Democrats and the GOP are also at odds over the size of the direct relief payments.
Make $80,000 or less, you will qualify for the $1,400 check. If you and your spouse make less than $160,000, you'll qualify for $2,800. Dependents will also be getting checks this time around.
So guys, have you received your fourth stimulus check yet? Well, here's the reasons why you haven't received it. Several residents across the country have begun to receive stimulus checks to help better cope with the effects of inflation on prices of certain products and even services. The first checks, for instance, in direct deposits from $3 billion was actually sent to the people of Massachusetts about several months. In September, the CPI index, which measures the change in prices, was also 8.2% higher than the previous 12 months before. As we can see, President Biden should definitely do more for the American people and send out stimulus payments.
With spending more than the government brings in, the government simply...
$800 million in inflation relief checks are here. The lawmakers, everybody, are making huge progress on this next round of stimulus. The people can actually qualify and receive this stimulus check. So folks, many people actually qualify for this relief payment. And if you want to get the stimulus check, then be sure to subscribe because you'll be getting it very soon. And now the California governor, Gavin Newsom, has really called for the federal government to investigate the recent spike in natural gas prices. As families experiencing the soaring gas utility bills, things are getting out of hand in Congress. Now this only means one thing, folks. In a letter to the Federal Energy Regulation Committee, the governor has requested that the agency immediately focus its investigatory resources on accessing whether market manipulation is happening, anti-competitive behavior, or other things are driving up activities, like the soaring inflation and the elevated gas prices in the gas markets. Right now, we know that additionally, millions of Americans will soon see relief from the high utility bills, folks, with credits of $90 to $120 showing up on gas and electric bills as soon as this month. Right now, last Thursday, the Public Utilities Commission voted to accelerate the California Climate Credit just to help California families pay the high gas bills, but the $90 to $120 will be applied to residential utility customer bills. Now, starting from
on a formula which considers your income in 2020, how many dependents you have, and what the Franchise Tax Board knows about you. So, if you already got a Golden State stimulus check last year by direct deposit, your stimulus will come to you between October 7th and 25th. Everyone else will get their direct deposit between October 28th to November 14th, so long as their banking information.
A very big important day is coming up for many Americans. Democrats and Republicans are finally coming together to propose new legislation. Several proposals have been proposed in Congress, and